Welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit different from the rest of them, actually quite a bit different, because we're not going to be even talking about cars in this one. It seems that car guys, petrol heads, whoever you are, do have a love for watches. And today I'm going to be speaking about my 3 favorite watches. You'll notice I have something quite special on my wrist usually. We call it the Rebellion Predator 3 hands. My personal taste in watches tends to be maybe not the norm. I like to wear watches and I don't want to have to change my watch according to the time of day or the event I'm on. I love a watch design for what it is. It tells me what time it is. It's a functional thing. And I don't need a lot more than something that basically is function. The first watch I'm going to be speaking about is one of my first loves that I've ever had for watches. I do know that it was founded by 2 university students, Bruno Bellamiche, and the other one was Carlo Rossini. 2 very, very good friends. They joined their names together and they came up with the name Bell and Ross. This is a French brand of watches. Most car guys will recognize the one I'm talking about, the brand I'm talking about. The specific one that I'm using here is a BR01-96 Big Date. Now this watch for me is the epitome of it does what it says on the tin. Basically, it tells you what time it is in the clearest, most concise way. A little bit different in terms of design. It's kind of like the circle within the square approach that you do see on the instrumentation on most aircraft. It might sound big, but it's a 46 millimeter. There are larger watches, of course, but typically watches might be around 38 to 40 millimeters. And this is quite big on the wrist, but I do like big watches. Now, the reason why I love this watch personally is because it almost takes a clear graphic approach to, first of all, the design of the shape of the watch. You can't go very wrong geometrically than having a circle or a square, and they've combined the 2 of them, and that gives it its very unique look to it. So the basic outline of the watch, the basic shape of the watch is distinctive. Nobody else designs or has a watch that even looks like this watch. Then the face of this watch is pure aviation type font style. You're looking at something that is not fancy, it's pure. The watch has no frills to it. It has pure function. I think the beauty of this watch lies in the fact, above all else, it's military aviation DNA, its clarity, the simplicity of it all. And then also another factor is the utilitarian approach that they've used for this watch. Anybody who wears a watch like this is very much seeing time as a tool, as something to get something done. It's not a luxury, it's more of a calculation of time, a pure, simple definition of what is time. And for that reason, this watch, I think, is the simplest form of a tool that you can wear on your wrist. The next watch I want to talk about today is another one quite similar. It's also a tool. It's being used to do something, or it was developed to do something, have a purpose. And this is the Panerai Luminor Marina. It originally was developed for the commandos of the Italian Navy, the frogmen, the guys on dangerous missions where they had to actually attach themselves to the missiles, to the torpedoes. On the way to the target, they would time their approach and then let go at the right instant and swim off, and hopefully the mission would be successful. Now, when you look at it today, it still resembles quite a bit its iconic predecessors. It's incredibly stylish, which goes a long ways to say that even a sports luxury design watch can become incredibly stylish. This one does it very well. It's a fairly large watch. Again, this is a 44 millimeter diameter watch. It's a polished stainless steel casing, so it still looks very, very, very masculine, very industrial almost. But again, it maintains its traditional features, such as the crown protecting bridge that it has over the crown. That is a very distinctive thing, so that you don't knock it, you don't change it. It's very, very well protected. The hands are very special on this because they have an incredible luminosity to them at night in dark conditions. This is coming not quite, but to the shape of what we would call a squircle, almost a combination of a square and a circle. So it still has the hard corners, but those corners are all joined up with very beautiful sweeping lines. And I really, really think this watch can be worn any time of the day and still look quite elegant, even though it has that sporty appeal to it. A big reason why I like this watch is, above all, because of the clarity of the design. Again, I'll say it a million times, the reason why I want a watch is to be able to read the time. So many watches out there basically do the same thing, obviously, but in a much more complicated way, and there's no reason for complications like that. You admire complications in a watch, but for me, I think it's just clarity of the image, clarity of the dial. But what you can get with this Luminor Marina Panerai is something that looks distinctively from Panerai, and that's obviously by the type of fonts that they're using, the shape of the case. That overall effect turns into a watch that is, from its purity, it's become an iconic design, and there's not much more you would add or take away from this design of this watch to improve it. My next favorite watch is one called the IWC Portuguese Automatic. Now this version, the Portuguese, started out in around 1930. Two Portuguese merchants came to IWC wanting a bespoke wristwatch with the precision of a pocket watch. And so they developed this watch, and it's gone on to become quite iconic in the watch industry for many, many different reasons. One, above all, because it is a quality instrument of time measurement. Now, there's two types. There's the chronograph, and there's also the automatic version. I owned the chronograph first and just got rid of it. Loving it, obviously, but there was a certain graphic approach to it that didn't really sit well with me. So I traded it in and got myself the IWC Portuguese Automatic. This one is slightly smaller than the chronograph version, chronometer version. Now this watch here is not what you would call a sport type watch. It's much more of an elegant watch. You can wear it all day. It's fine for that. You look very, very high class when you're wearing a watch like this. It's definitely one of the nicest looking watches you'll ever see in the industry. The hands, slim, very, very delicate, very refined, very well balanced for the overall shape of the watch. The numbers being quite easy to read. The layout is so simple, so balanced. Can't beat it. The overall shape of the casing of the watch is elegant, nothing too dramatic, just a pure, beautiful shape. Again, very, very well proportioned and very well balanced. The shape for me is classic, definitely nothing groundbreaking or innovative in that sense, but it does shout icon when you look at it. You know that this watch is something that will look good forever. I mean, this is one of the classics of watch design. You can't really improve on it. I think they've reached a point on this watch now where anything that they do to it now won't make it any better, just different. And in that respect, I think the IWC from Stephenson, the Portuguese Automatic, has to stand out as one of the most beautifully elegant watches ever designed. And I think for that reason, it's going to continue its iconic status forever. Now, if I was to make two honorable mentions, one most definitely would be the Hublot Big Bang. I've always wanted one. It's a dream for me to get one day, but this watch represents a lot of my interests: outer space, technology, chunkiness, and it's a fusion, it's an explosion at the same time of quite different materials all brought together, and all these in one watch makes it very, very special for me. So that Big Bang is on my list. And my second honorable mention choice would have to be one that some people might recognize when I say it, but if you do know your watches, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the Rolex Cellini. Now this watch probably would not even make you think of Rolex when you first looked at it. It's inspired by an Italian Renaissance artist. The guy's name was Benvenuto Cellini. And this watch is absolutely classic in its approach. I mean, it is what we would call eternal elegance in design. I know that the list can be quite variable. That's why it's going to be interesting to read what your favorite 3 watch designs are. It's a tough one to crack because quite a few watches out there, lots of beautiful timepieces out there. Let me know what you think, what yours are, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.